Hi, remember me? I'm that guy from that last video who's all excited about his brand new Slingbow that he just made, doing 155 feet per second. Whoa, that's awesome. Well, that was a long time ago. That was like last month. And let's just say, times have changed. The Hybrid Hunter Slingbow V2. Here you go. Hope you guys like it. Before we get started today, guys, I gotta tell you about today's sponsor. It's called Chrony. I know you've never heard of it before, so let me tell you about it because it's one I use personally and I've gotten a lot of value out of. How crazy would you think I was if I told you that there's people out there whose whole entire job is collecting your personal information, developing a profile of you, and selling it off to the highest bidder to do God knows what with? There's no way, right? Well, that's exactly what's happening every single day that you don't have Chrony. You know why you're getting so many spam text messages and spam calls and spam emails even? It's because every single day people are making big bucks selling your information. It's not just spam callers. It can get pretty dangerous. Identity thieves, hackers, that kind of stuff. Everybody wants a piece of your pie, know what I'm saying? Guys, protect your pie with Chrony. Because all these data brokers who are selling your information, unfortunately, aren't actually breaking any laws. The only way they can actually get in big legal trouble is if you contact them directly and tell them to take your information down. If they don't do it, they get in big trouble. So why doesn't everybody just do that? Well, it's because there's hundreds of them. You would never have time to contact all of them direct. That's where Chrony comes in. Chrony is a service that allows you to outsource your legal right to tell these data brokers to take your information down. They use their super advanced algorithm to scan the whole entire internet for any data broker selling a profile that matches your information, and they submit the request for you. I don't know if I ever showed you guys this before. Hold on, check this out. They got this super simple dashboard that lets you know how many requests have been sent, how many are in progress, and how many have been completed. I'm up to 314 data brokers who have taken my information down for good. That's so epic. Those results are so tangible in real life. I don't remember the last time I got a spam call. I get way less spam texts. I even get way less spam emails too. It's also just pretty nice knowing these people are not making money selling your information. It's a mental thing too. That mental thing is called peace of mind. If you would like some, go ahead and check out my link in the description or in the pinned comment. You're gonna get 60% off an annual plan if you use my code. Thank you very much, Chrony, for sponsoring the video. Let's get back to it. All right, so definitely consider this more as like a part 2 of the last video more than its own video. I mean, as you can see, the bones of the V1 versus the V2 are almost identical. Where all the big changes came were from the fact that I put probably 15 to 1800 shots through this thing in just the last month alone, and that gave me a super good handle on its strengths and weaknesses that I was able to capitalize on in the V2. You know how sometimes you can use a piece of like exercise equipment at the gym that you just know for a fact was made by some engineer that never had to sit down on it for months on end and try to get a good workout with it. He just kind of made it, farted it out, made a whole bunch of money, and now it's gathering dust at the gym. That is the exact opposite of what I want for the Slingbow in its final form, because ultimately, and this is the first time I'm saying this, you're gonna hear it here first, this is something that I want to go into production with and hopefully sell it on a big scale. It's still not done, that's for sure, but when you see the performance difference between the V1 and the V2, you know I'm onto something here. So let's go over the differences. The version 1, actually I haven't even shown you guys this. What you saw in the last video was that I was just running these tubes into the clamps. What I did not show you is that on more than one occasion, I think 3 times, the tubes just pulled right out and slapped me in the face. I got this like super deep bruise on my jaw, but I got crazy tired of that. So what I started doing was making loops out of that paracord 275, and as you can see here on the prototype, I haven't touched this thing in a couple of months, you loop it over in the front and then you just flip it over, and then you would just put the clamp over top. This clamp design that I did with the cut in half pipe works absolutely perfectly for this exact band setup, but where it's still giving me real trouble is with flat bands. The flat bands have also slipped out of these clamps, and it hurts a lot less hitting you in the face, but all of them really kind of suck when you're at a full draw, and it slips out of one end and it really just like torques the whole thing in your hand, or it'll slip out of this end and just pull your hand that way. Probably would be a pretty good idea to integrate like a lanyard that goes under here. Yeah, that's a pretty good opportunity to break a wrist or break a finger or something, especially if you're going super heavy with the bands. But with the V2, I've gone with a completely different clamp design. These use, I think they're called thumb screws. You definitely can't unscrew them by hand, but you do put the tubes on the exact same way as you do this one. That's not any different. I also discovered you really don't need to take both screws out. You can just take it off like that. But here, just to show you up close, the new clamp is a piece of 1/2 inch bar that's cut down the middle. meaning the part that actually makes contact with the rubber is perfectly round. See, the problem with the old clamp here is that as hard as I try with all my experience, I can't get the inside of the pipe that I cut in half to just be perfectly round and perfectly smooth. So it ends up that when I tighten the screws down, I can visibly see the pipe clamp like cutting into the rubber. It looks like it is. So I stop tightening, but it's just not tight enough and the bands slip out. It's just impossible to hit that perfect middle ground where it's tightened enough to not let the bands slip out, but it's also not so tight that it's damaging the bands. Well, with our new setup here, it's a flat surface with a perfectly round bar, which means you can tighten the ever-loving caca out of these things, and it's really just going to get more and more secure. That there is a whole stack of 4 bands, and if you keep an eye on the rubber right here, it doesn't move even the slightest bit. Even when I fully draw it out, it's just as secure as possible. Much, much, much better solution for the clamp. These thumb screws are nice for screwing it down most of the way, but I would definitely recommend the Allen key for the final little bit of tightening. That's an idea. A little spot on it somewhere where I could keep the Allen key, maybe insert it into the handle. V3 coming soon. So obviously the connection method of the tubes is extremely different. The clamps are completely different, but where I got that gigantic speed increase is really just dialing in the starting length of the rubber. The real problem with the original rubber was that I was just cutting it way too long. I think my bands were like 9 inches to start out with before I was tying them up. These ones start out at 6.5 now, and that's how I've gotten this crazy speed increase. So yeah, with my 29-inch draw, 6.5 inches of bands does absolutely epic for me. So structural differences. Here we have the single piece of 1/8-inch steel supporting the limbs. Like I said, I did put about 1,800 shots through this thing in just the last month. It's held up epically, but I was messing around with some like 55-pound bands on there. I don't know if, yeah, you can see it. There is a very slight amount of flexion in the limbs, just because there's a whole, I don't know, what is this, like 5.5, 6 inches of the limbs that's just totally unsupported. That's a pretty good amount of leverage on there. I totally think this could handle 60 or 65-pound bands, but you never really want to be in that space where you're just like not completely confident in the thing that you're shooting. You can feel the frame like flexing in your hand. You're just not sure, is this the moment it gives out on me? In a real product, you want redundancy. You want the maximum draw weight you can handle to be nowhere near what the frame can handle. And that is what I have accomplished with this new frame. Please don't say it looks like a coat hanger. I just don't see it, okay? I don't even know why you just said that. It looks nothing like a coat hanger. But look, I've gone with 1/4-inch steel rod instead of the 1/8-inch bar. It's more rigid for sure, but it's also easier to form. You can see the slight difference in the angle that the support comes out from this rear ring. I think in the V3, I have to make it even more steep. Like, if anything, even pointing straight at the front ring. Because the reason why I did this was because I am having this little issue here where when you fire, the rubber does come forward and actually slap into the support right here. And over time, it really wears away. That's actually the #1 place where the rubber's been failing. I've also been experimenting with heat shrink tubing over it to protect it just a little bit more. But yeah, I've kind of pinched in the supports a little bit, and then I run off at an angle, and the support goes all the way to the very end of the limb. Doing it this way, you really cannot feel any kind of flexion when you're drawing back even really heavy bands like this. Oh, and I've graduated from the Chinese exercise bands to TheraBand Black and TheraBand Silver tubing. This stuff is super cool. It's got a really, really thin diameter, much thinner than the Chinese tubes, but they're more powerful somehow. These little black tubes that are doing 180 feet per second are pulling, I believe, 39 pounds, if I remember correctly. The TheraBand Silver is 52 pounds, and as you saw, this is doing 212 feet per second. I'm sure if I just slightly overdrew it a little more, I'd probably hit 215. So of course I'm gonna say 225, no, 215. This is a support to support the support, and this here, you guessed it, is a string stopper, band stopper, I guess. Guess I could just pull it off and show you guys. Literally just a rubber plug thing with a hole in it. This is a stainless machine screw. The threads on it work very well to hold the stoppers on. I never had one of these come off. I have also bulked up the what do you call this? The spine? I'll call it the spine. That sounds right. This is 3/16 on the V1. I went all the way up to 1/4. I flipped that up right there. I messed that up really bad. That looks so bad. But I went all the way up to 1/4 inch for that one. Oh, and as you can see, I did what I said I was going to do in the last video, and I just went with the full 2 pipes, and I was absolutely correct. That it feels so much better. It's only going to feel better once I actually get the wrap on there. So yeah, that really might be it. I think I covered everything. There's some good range footage, some interactions with some people that were there. I was just out there doing speed testing. I don't have the TheraBand Silver on the V2 in that video. This didn't show up until today. Brian? Yeah. All right, guys, here's my longtime friend Brian. He's going to be testing out the Chrony just to make sure it's working. Sheesh. 251. No, 257. Right. Nice. That's pretty good.
Cool. Where do you think yours is going to end up?
The small one, 180, and the big one, a little over 200.
That's exciting.
Yeah. I mean, not to brag way too much, but the product that I'm working on right now, it's a world record Slingbow.
Really?
There's any other Slingbow you see online, like from $1 million companies, they're all doing 120 to 150, and mine is the only one doing these kind of numbers. So I'm excited about it. I'm hoping to start producing them.
Sell it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you know what the like? What would your demographic be? Like, who are you targeting?
Well, you'll see once I shoot. It's definitely not a toy. It's something that you can use for both hunting on land, like deer and stuff, but you can also use it for bow fishing.
Bow fishing, okay.
Yeah.
I'm curious what the regulations would be.
Yeah, you definitely have to check state by state, but it outperforms really any recurve bow, and recurve bows are pretty much legal anywhere. Not that that matters for state regulations, but...
I've never thought about that, but what the regulations would have to be for something to qualify as a bow, or what would be archery?
And it can be pretty frustrating trying to figure it out, because your Slingbow can surpass all of the regulations, but just because it's a Slingbow, the DNR will like not trust you. You think slingshot and you think like Dennis the Menace, you're not thinking something really serious. All right, so here's the V1 with TheraBand Black. We're pulling about 39 pounds right now. I hope you don't have to see me get slapped in the face right now. This one right here is looking a little precarious. 173. 175. They get faster as they warm up. 175. And I'm not really going for accuracy right now. I'm just trying to get the max speed. See? 181. 180. 178. Nice. All right, now we're gonna go for the V2 with the string stoppers, the improved clamps. I believe we're pulling about 45 pounds with this one, but I haven't tested it yet. I'll test it when I get back home. Much faster. That has to be a glitch. 127. 195. That's awesome. Let me reset this thing. I know it's not doing 131. Might be something funny with the shadow here. 182. 184. 122. This Chrony's really giving me grief. 190. If we can break 200, call that good. 182. I just don't really believe that. Okay, my Chrony is pooping out right now. 343. Might be overheating or something. This is a bummer. 192. 190. 199.
I'm glad you had me check that.
Yeah.
Actually, would you mind if I shot through one more time?
Yeah. I'm getting kind of some grief from this thing. It's giving me crazy results, so I'm not sure exactly how accurate it's been right now.
208?
No, it was much higher than that. Yours was 257, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's supposed to say at what I'm pulling in my draw should be about 324.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm actually glad I did it, but I'm like, do I need to just go to the bow shop right now?
Well, the other thing is, are you saying 320 whatever because that's what's on the box?
Yeah, so it's supposed to be like perfect, and it's at the 70 draw and 29, or rather 70 pull, 29 drop, and that's what I'm set at. And I know that's in like perfect environment and stuff, but I thought I should be over 300.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's just a string change or something like that.
Well, definitely give it a try, but the dirty secret about the whole archery industry is they all want that big number on the box, and they'll do absolutely anything to get it. And what they usually do is in the factory, they'll crank the bow up to like 190% of what's even safe, and then they'll throw a freaking bamboo skewer in there and shoot it, and it says 10 billion miles an hour, and they go, wow, put it on a box, and that's what they sell it for. And then you put a real arrow in it, and it'll do, 240 or something like that. It's like really common practice. Basically no compound bow that you shoot is going to match what it says on the box. If you're shooting real arrows like the ones that you have here. It's kind of a bummer, but in general, like the higher the number is, it's still going to be a faster and faster bow in relation to other bows that are, you know, kind of lying about their numbers.
Yeah.
But generally, you're not really going to match that 360 or whatever they have on the front of the box.
How did you get into this? Were you an archer before?
No, I just kind of dabble, dabble in everything.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely give it a try. I might want to move it into the sun a little bit more.
I appreciate it, man. Now you just got me thinking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check out your channel and be like, oh damn, I know that guy for sure.
I don't know about that. I'm a few years removed from my big blow up. This grass eats arrows. Usually what I'll do is I'll take a dead arrow and I'll stab it through the grass and pry it up, and just looking for my one arrow, I'll usually find 4 or 5 other people's arrows.
Oh, right. Isn't it crazy how much they carry?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Same thing with like dudes looking for arrows. I got a buddy that.
There we go.
Nice.
Perfect. Yeah, once I do start selling, it's gonna be a bit of an uphill battle, because I want to be honest about the numbers that the bows can do.
Sure.
And if I'm out there saying, you know, I'm all excited about my bow doing 200 feet per second, and everybody else is claiming that theirs is doing 256, when, you know, they're cheating at every chance that they possibly can, it's like, you're really gonna explain to each individual person, like, no, my number's real, their number's fake, you know? So
right.
it is gonna take some time, I'm sure. But
is there a bit of a maintenance thing as far, because this reminds me of my spear gun, and like there's little things that I would never be able to replace unless I just take it to the spear gun shop.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so you just replace an easy like disconnect for the band?
Yeah, but you know, you still have to make all that stuff. But you know, it's just kind of part of the hobby. It's like sometimes you'll just put a show on or some YouTube videos or something, and just sit there and you'll make a few band sets, and you know, it's a nice little way to relax.
It's cool, man. I dig it.
Thanks. Okay. Just to be sure, if you're downrange over there, do you mind if I'm shooting over here?
I don't mind at all. We're
okay.
at different angles.
All right, we're going TheraBand Black again. 170. It's realistic. 175. 178. 177. 179. Duplicate. Duplicate. Nice. 195. Duplicate. 201. Yes. 196. I'm really excited to see how the TheraBand Silver does. That's showing up tomorrow. I don't even know what it's going to pull. The box says that it's, what, 40% stronger than TheraBand Black. Hope I can even draw back. Duplicate 197. Oh, check this out. I just found this in the grass. It's one of those super cheap Tiger Archery 500 spine arrows. Check out how dramatic the performance difference is. 164. Isn't that crazy? Jeez, 208. Nice. Oh, 212, baby. This is nuts. 205. 205. I'm disappointed in 205. I was just excited about 155 like last month. 208. And I reiterate, real arrows. Real arrows with a usable draw weight. This is 52 pounds draw. You can see the group-ins are getting a little teeny bit better, but that there's me trying to hit the long. I wasn't able to hit this, but I would say probably these 4 is me trying to hit that. The other ones are just me pulling back and shooting as fast as I can to try to get a really high speed. But I'm picking up on that instinctive shooting. I'm getting better pretty quick. Honestly, it's actually really nice having kind of a mid draw weight band and a heavy band. I don't know what the color below this one is. I think it's like blue. It'd be a really nice light band, but if in the future, not if, when in the future I start selling these things, I do plan on also providing the bands too. I've also been learning a lot about serving and doing the D-loop. I was using this Paracord 275 for my D-loops before, but I just experimented with actual D-loop string, never going back. I'm also using some like random nylon thread to do the serving. I want to get some actual Dyneema that has a coating so I don't have to be like putting super glue on it. I did try this True Knock. It wasn't really good for my purposes. It's basically a D-loop, but it's machined. I think it's made of aluminum. It's got to be. And it's like it's this piece that you put on the back, and then you can put the clamp on, almost like almost like this. I'm sure it's awesome on a compound bow. It really wasn't good for this. I only fired like 5 shots and it already has a bunch of dings in it. There's so much chaos going on here. Everything on this thing needs to be it needs to be very fluid. It needs to be able to take an impact. Something like this, a really finely machined piece of hardware, that's a good word, it's just not really made for something like this. But I'm gonna hang on to this for if I ever get a compound bow. Hope you liked them. Thanks. Bye.